Hello, and welcome to another True Faith transfer show with me, Adam. It's official, Callum Wilson signs for Newcastle for £20 million. Now this bid, well, it was a bidding war with Aston Villa. They bid 21 million, we bid 20 million, but he had no designs to go to Birmingham whatsoever. He wanted to come up here and join his former teammate Ryan Fraser on Tyneside. So he's here, and this feels like a really, really significant signing. You know, he's a proper number 9, isn't he? With Joe Linton, I'm not sure why he was ever given the number 9 shirt, why he was ever billed to be playing as a number 9 when he hadn't done so in his career. That really ruined him, and I think, you know, as much as you might question his talent for playing in the top flight anyway, it just wasn't going to work. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't what we needed. Now, with Callum Wilson, we can kind of hopefully pick up where we left off with Salomon Rondon. You know, a proper focal point to our counter-attack, because what we had before, we certainly weren't getting many touches in the box. We were certainly having counter-attacks, but then the inability to finish those and have cause problems for opposition. But Callum Wilson, which has shown like a shift in our recruitment strategy this summer, as was certainly over the last week, we've seen that Bruce is targeting proven Premier League players with experience, and Callum Wilson absolutely falls into that. Now, years back, he suffered 2 cruciate ligament damages, and that could have been career enders, both of them, genuinely. But he's fought back, and you know, he hasn't had a recurrence of any of those problems. It's something to be cautious about, for sure. But sort of since those injuries, he's amassed more minutes a season, every season accumulatively. So that's something to be really positive about in terms of his natural fitness. He's 28. It's believed to be a 4-year deal with an option for a 5th, which means that we could potentially have him till he's 33, which again is so different to how Newcastle have operated in the transfer market recently. Rafa Benitez wanted to bring in more experience. He did with Rondon, Fernandez, but even then, Mike Ashley was only really interested in us buying young players that would then have a sell-on value, and that's great to have some of that in the team, but you can't have a full team of young players without experience, and because it just doesn't work. You need the blend, and I think Wilson hitting his, hopefully what will be his peak now. He's, for his 28, 29, 30, he can really establish himself in the Premier League. He's already done so with Bournemouth, but I think he can go on to a next level with Newcastle, should it go well, and should he, show Newcastle fans what he's been showing Bournemouth fans the last few seasons. You know, he averaged 10 goals a season the last 3 seasons. So he scored 30 Premier League goals in the last 3 seasons, which, you know, in traditional terms is modest, but in Newcastle, in relative Newcastle terms, that's huge. That's massive. You know, Rondon and Perez got double figures, but beyond them, in the last few years, we just haven't seen that in the Premier League. Is managing to score that much. Obviously, last year nobody managed double figures. So if he can get us anywhere towards that, we suddenly have a very potent attack. You know, as I said before, he's a proper number 9. He's a proper centre forward who can, you know, win aerial battles, and he can hold the ball up, and most importantly, he's a finisher. Joe Linton isn't a finisher. Gale is a finisher, but he's not as good, and he's injury prone and hasn't got the physicality that Wilson has. Wilson brings that. And after last season's disappointment with Bournemouth, and he still scored 8 goals, albeit 5 of them were in the same month, so his consistency is maybe something to watch out for as well. I think the fact that he has a pre-existing relationship with Ryan Fraser, who again will walk into our side, you know, this gives us such a potent front four, a really exciting front four of Ryan Fraser, Alain Saint-Maximin, Miguel Almiron, and now Callum Wilson to spearhead it. And it it sort of now matters less that we're not going to have as much possession, which I don't expect us to. But before, when we're playing counter-attack and we didn't have the finishers, then we really were blunt up front, and it was a huge goals, the huge problem. But now we've got a bit more creativity. We have the fact that Miggy and Sam Maximan will be, integrated even more, settled even more. But the season that Fraser and Wilson had, a couple of years ago, a couple of seasons ago, during 18-19, Callum Wilson got 14 goals and 9 assists. He got England call-ups. He was linked with Chelsea and Man United in £50 million deals. That wasn't that long ago. Ryan Fraser the same, obviously. But the fact that they had such good chemistry, the pair of them, the fact that they're both arriving together means that I think they'll be able to integrate faster and they'll be able to hit the ground running in time for the new Premier League season. Now, maybe, I don't know how confident Bruce is of starting any of these in the first couple of games, or I'm sure he'll have to start a couple of them at least, of the new signings. But I think the other thing that Callum Wilson brings is a bit of leadership in that final third of the pitch. When Joe Linton was playing there, he was young. It wasn't his, he was new to this team. I guess he didn't feel he had that authority and not that experience, but Callum Wilson does. He can be that leader. Rondon did a similar thing, even if he's not the, most shoutiest player, or he sort of leads by example. It's his, and I think he'll bring influence in the dressing room. And actually, this bad season that Bournemouth had last year, I think that'll be to our benefit, because both Fraser and Wilson have been through, adversity, and both will be absolutely wanting to prove themselves. Callum Wilson will be disappointed that he scored 14 goals and then only 8. Like, he'll want to do better, and he'll expect himself to do better. And with Euro 2020 potentially being played in summer 2021, he'll want to be in the conversation. Absolutely want to be in the conversation for that. So he's got something to prove. He's got something to play for. The fact that he's chosen us over, a team that, could stay up, Villa, but, they might find it hard. We might find it hard as well, obviously. But the fact that he's come so far away from kind of home, which is in the south, says a lot about the, maybe the influence that Bruce has had on being able to convince him to come here. Like, we know, for all of Bruce's deficiencies, he is a good manager. He's good with people, and it feels like he's sold his vision to these players, and they've decided to come. So the fact that they come as a pair is fantastic. And like I said at the start of this, it could be such a significant signing, a proper number 9 to spearhead the season. Now, I hope, again, with the injuries to Gale and the fact that Carroll probably shouldn't be starting football matches, Muto's finished as far as I'm concerned. I would like us to bring in another lone striker to back up to Wilson. So what I was concerned about last year is that we threw Joe Linton in the deep end. It was like, right, you are our saviour, score goals. And that was overwhelming, and that's a lot of pressure. And he had very little help, really. So what I'm hoping for with Wilson is that we don't do the same, although we can and should expect more from him, because he's proven to be scoring goals in this league. But I'd like to think another, like a lone striker, a young player, or just anyone else to take the burden off him, that might ease the pressure and make him feel a lot more relaxed and let him do his thing and settle in better. So hopefully that's on the cards as well. But for now, what a signing. Really, really pleased about it. It's something to get excited about, a new striker, and it's something that, yes, maybe these signings are the bare minimum. Maybe we're all really, really excited because we've been feeding off crumbs for the last few seasons. Absolutely. And, Mike Ashley politics aside, these are some really good signings. They're proven in the Premier League, and Wilson is no exception to that. Really excited to see him in the black and white. Hope he can get a few goals in the first couple of months, because I think that could define where our season is headed, because I think it's going to be tough. Anyway, Callum Wilson signs. I've been Adam. This has been The Transfer Show. Tune in for more on the YouTube channel, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.